Okay, on today's podcast, we're going to cover a lot of ground. Everything from mixed martial arts to working alongside the mob to serving a 5-year prison sentence with your father, by the way, with your father, and coming out on the other side, a better man, a changed man, a man that is focused on helping others and is really on the right path. I think you're going to get so much value from this. You're going to be entertained at the same time. And my guest, Rick Koenig, is even going to give you share a story where he worked security for Dennis Rodman, and Rodman kept giving him the slip because he didn't want security. So just some great stories and some real authentic talk and some gems that you can take away. Enjoy. So you get out, and we know how unfortunately in society, when most people are released, there's not a path. There's not a plan in place, and too many of those people have a round trip ticket right back. So how did you stay out, and how have you stayed out?
Man, like I said, I had a vision. I wanted to get involved in real estate. I really did. I loved as a kid looking at homes. It was always a passion of mine. I loved big homes. And, I had a few different choices, but I got into just minimum wage jobs, doing cabinetry work, countertops, working at a pizzeria at nighttime. I went back to the club. You know what I mean? I just stayed away from any nonsense, but I went back into security. I got into everything I could to build myself up to where I needed to be. I had to be the provider. My wife didn't work. The whole time that I was in prison, she didn't work. She raised her son, and that was a job in itself. So I made sure as a man, first and foremost, I think the definition of a man is responsibility. You have to be responsible. You have to take care of your loved ones. And I'm not saying a woman shouldn't work or anything of that nature, but this is the way I was raised, and I was able to do it. So I'd rather work 3 or 4 different jobs, because I tell you what, kids are that's a job, that's 10 jobs.
Sure.
And I found that out later on in life. So, I kept myself busy. And that is a key point to my self-mastery system, is keeping yourself busy. Because of idle time, boredom turns into desires turn into vices, and the vices turn into addictions. Yep. And then next thing you know, you're homeless, or whatever the case is, you're losing your family. So you have to fill your day as much as possible with positive things. You can never negate a negative thought with a positive thought. The only way you can negate a negative thought is by a positive action. Jump into something that's positive. That's why I'm so much into weight training. That's my reset button. Reset button. We were talking about martial arts. I bailed off the mats, I would say, about a year ago. I had a total hip replacement. A lot of things were going on in my life, and I started to lose the passion. 50 years of doing it, I started to lose the passion of it. And I always told my students, every day that I'm on these mats, I have to earn my black belt.
Yeah.
And when I saw myself looking at my watch, and I was delivering great material, Roger, great material. I learned from the best. And I was the best. But at that certain point in time, when you start losing the passion, that's when I was like, okay, I saw where my life was doing a kind of a turning point, and I was focusing more on the personal training, working on my app so I could do it, worldwide eventually. But right now I'm doing it throughout the United States. And I started to embrace that a little bit because again, it started to become work for me. So, and that's with anything in life. You just got to figure out what makes you happy. When your why aligns with your pleasure, which is your purpose, that's when you really have it and you're able to make money. And I found it.
What made you move from Jersey to Missouri?
Well, in 2007, I don't know how it is where you lived, but that's when the recession hit. Sure, so I was in the mortgage industry. All right. I got out of selling homes and things of that nature because I was horrible at it. And I did very well in mortgages. So in 2007, when the recession hit, I took a heavy hit. And again, not being college educated, unless I was going to get back into construction, which I didn't really care for. I didn't have a college degree. I was a felon. And I robbed Peter to pay Paul for 2 years. And when Paul ran out of money, Peter got pissed. I tell people all the time, if you can find 3 to 5 books, embrace them, reread them. Because a lot of times we're not present in the situation. We're thinking about something outside of life. And then you go back, you're like, wow, again, a gem. I always look for the gems, Roger.
Yeah.
And that's funny
Yep.
that you said that, because I say it all the time, man. Pick out a gem, write it down. I'm very big into affirmations and journaling as well.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. All right. So, second to last question. So, you've lived a very eventful, we'll call it, life, right? Like, you have had some very big impact things happen in your life, good and not so good.
Yep.
But you seem to have everything on the right track, loving where you live, loving what you do. So let's fast forward to the end of your life, and you've lived this very rich life, and you've finished impeccably, but we're at your funeral, and a loved one is reading your eulogy, and they're only allowed to pick 3 words to describe you, like 3 descriptive words that would say, I knew Rick as, and these 3 words, this is the type of life he lived. What 3 words, Rick, do you hope they choose to describe how you finished your life?
Intense, disciplined, and committed.
Love it. Love it.
I mean,
I don't know if I'd expect. Yeah, I don't know if I'd expect you to say any other 3 words though. Like you are intense. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So last one. This one's kind of fun too. You've seen a lot, brother. You have seen a lot. So if you could wave a magic wand, and tomorrow we wake up and the world is different in one way the world just operates differently. Everyone thinks differently or does whatever, but it's one way. And you get to wave the magic wand and decide how Rick wants the world to be different in one way tomorrow. When we wake up, how is the world different according to Rick?
Everybody loving each other, man. Get rid of the prejudice and the racism. Become what? Understand we are connected.
Yep.
We are connected. And when people figure that out, I think the world would be a lot better place to live in.
Amen. Amen.